Should you buy a Canon Megatank printer? Stay tuned because today, that's what we're going to be talking about. Hey YouTube, what is going on? Brandon here with another printer video, and today we're going to be talking about whether you should buy a Canon Megatank printer or not. Now, what a Canon Megatank printer is a Canon's version of an ink bottle based printer where you're going from using ink cartridges to now using ink bottles. This is a system that is revolutionizing the printer market. Epson is doing it, HP is even doing it, and of course Canon is doing it. But is this a right fit for you? Should you buy one of these Canon ink bottle based printers? That is exactly what you will find in this video. I'm going to be talking mainly about 3 areas when it comes to these Canon Megatank printers. First off, we're going to be talking about the ink features. So essentially, what does it mean that we're switching from an ink cartridge based printer to an ink bottle based printer? What are the advantages of that? Second, we're going to be talking about the printer functionality. How good are these printers that are on the market currently in the Megatank lineup? We'll talk a little bit about the pricing of these printers and the overall cost of owning one of these printers as well. So that is exactly what you can expect. I ask that you watch from the beginning of the video all the way until the end. Now, of course, if you have any questions at all, you can always comment below. And if this video does end up being helpful, make sure to like the video. That ensures that I can continue to make content just like this that is free for you and information that can be really helpful to you making a good buying decision. And lastly, if you want more content like this, I ask that you please subscribe and hit the bell notification button if you want to get notified of any other videos that I end up uploading. Alright, so getting right into it. Essentially what is happening here when you are buying one of these Canon Megatank printers is you are switching from an ink cartridge based printer, which the ink cartridge has always been very inefficient, has been kind of a rip-off usually. Consumers have always been really frustrated with ink cartridges. You get very little ink in that little container, and then the install, there's usually some error code going on there, and you may have felt that frustration of using ink cartridges. Now, when you're switching over to an ink bottle-based printer, you eliminate error codes for the most part, and you eliminate the question of how much ink am I really using? How much ink is actually in this little ink cartridge? There is information online that has shown the inside of an ink cartridge that has different compartments, and it's really not full of ink. That whole ink cartridge is not full of ink. There's different compartments, and so it's less ink than they really are leading you to believe when you were initially making that purchase. With an ink bottle, you know exactly how much ink you are putting into your printer. Now, what Canon is claiming is that with every black ink bottle, you'll be able to get 6,000 pages times 3. And this is on the page for the Canon Pixma G5020. So many times they're going to include various black ink bottles. So in this case, you have 3 black ink bottles. So you've got 18,000 pages realistically that you could print with those 3 black ink bottles. If you want to check for this printer or any of the printers I end up talking about in this video, there's going to be links in the description below for these printers. So if you want this exact deal, and a lot of times the other Megatanks do these similar deals where they do the color ink bottles, but then they also throw in, 2 extra black ink bottles. So now you have 3, which is the case here. That's really going to make a big difference because that's starting you off where you're not going to have ink refilled for a very long time. Now with the color pages, you're going to get 7,700 out of the 1 bottle. That's combining the 3 colors, 7,700 pages. I can tell you that will last you, if you are printing moderately, that should last you over 1 entire year. So for 1 year, you should not have to, in theory, go back and buy new ink bottles. So let me just explain to you how the system works a little bit. So with an ink cartridge-based system, you have the printer's print head. You would place the ink cartridges directly into the print head, and the print head would print from the bottom. The ink would be pushed into the system on the print head, and then ink would print out on the bottom onto the page. What you have here is a system where you're loading up the ink at the front of the printer. You have veins connected to those tanks, and then those vanes are then looped around and connected to the print head that is able to move freely, and it's being pushed into that print head. So it's the same system, just some additional steps to get to that initial point of being able to print from the print head. Those are the ink bottle features. Now, one other note that I wanted to mention as we move on in the video is that you can use remanufactured ink with these printers, because all it is that liquid ink that you're putting into the tank. There's no chips to deal with. There's no error codes to deal with. All you're doing is you're buying remanufactured ink. Quickly, I'm going to show you the difference between remanufactured ink, which I already found some right here, going for $32. You got the whole set, versus if you were to buy, and that's most of what is going to be advertised on Amazon. So I'm going to be leaving a link for some remanufactured ink, by the way. If you take a look at this ink bottle that Canon is selling you, you're paying about $20 for one bottle, magenta bottle. If you want to buy the cyan bottle, it's $11.99. So in total, it's looking like it's going to cost you this. I know this is remanufactured. So if you add that up, you're roughly going to be paying $45 for the original OEM. So here with the remanufactured, it's the same exact ink, same quality and everything. You don't have to worry about that. And you're getting it for at least $10 cheaper. So that might be worth it or not. I just like to throw this information out there because this channel, as I've always said, is all about saving you money, getting you the best information so you can make the best buying decision, and helping you with any other support I can when it comes to your printing needs. Alright, so next I wanted to talk about the printer functionality. So the printers themselves, are they functional, and what are the features with these printers? Now there's a Megatank lineup, and right now I'm on the Canon Pixma G5020, but there's the Canon Pixma, there's the G6020, there's the G4210, the G3200, 2200, and I just reviewed the Canon Pixma G1200. So you're going from the base model of the 1200 that doesn't even have a screen. 2200 doesn't have a screen but has a little bit more buttons. 3200 still doesn't have a screen but has buttons on the side, and they have glass scanners. The 1200 doesn't have a glass scanner. And then the 4200, you get a small screen, black and white, and you have an automatic document feeder. You move up and you lose the automatic document feeder, but you have scanners on the 6020. On the 5020, it appears that you don't have a glass scanner, but both of these have a front-facing screen. Now, if you've used these printers in the past, or you're looking for something that's a little bit more discounted from the HP and the Epson tank printers, then this is the route you're going to want to go, because you still have the functionality there. If you're already used to using this type of printer, then this is probably a good route for you. But I will say that there is somewhat of a learning curve if you have not used one of these Canon printers, these base model non-tank printer Canon printers, because these essentially are Canon printers that they just took, they put tanks on them, and then they're new printers. There really was no additional features added aside from the tanks. And so because of that, you have a base Canon printer with tanks on it. Now, if you go higher up in the Canon world, you will find some more advanced tank printers, but that is outside of the scope of this video because you go up into very high price ranges, and that's not what we're talking about here today. We're talking about, middle price between $150 to $500 at the most. If you're getting up into those higher model Canon printers, you're talking about $800 and up to $1,000, $1,500, $2,000. And so we're keeping it pretty simple here. Now, one printer I would not recommend out of this lineup is the Canon Pixma G1200. I found it to be extremely lacking in various features. You cannot connect with your smartphone, which I found to be strange because the majority of the printers that I review on this channel, and I would say all of them except for this one, have been able to connect to a smartphone. So that is one note I will say. You can X off the G1200. I absolutely don't recommend that one. But I have reviewed the 3200, the 4210, and one of these other variations, the 6020. They're excellent printers. Their print quality is great. I have reviewed the print quality on these printers and the functionality overall of these printers. And the higher models, that's where you're going to get the most benefits, and that's where you want to stay at. You don't want to go to the lower models, and you really want to make sure what functionality do you need on printers? And this will just be a general statement that'll help the majority of you. You need to figure out how much scanning you need to do, how much printing you need to do, and how much paper capacity and how much volume you're going to be doing. Once you determine those 4 things, you can then really easily decide what printer you want to get. If you're going to be doing a lot of scanning with a lot of documents, you want an automatic document feeder, which if you look here at the G4210, that is an automatic document feeder setup. You're going to want the 4210. If you only do limited scanning, but you do a lot of printing and you need a lot of paper volume and paper size, then you're going to want to go up and move up into the Canon G5020 or the Canon G6020 that can handle more paper capacity. These are also going to allow for more volume of printing because they're going to be higher capacity than the G4210. You can carve out another category as well, and you can say, well, I want to use my smartphone and I want something that's really good with technology where I can print with multiple devices. Again, that's going to be the higher models versus the lower models. So once you determine a few things here, 3 to 4 things, and you really determine your price range, you can really easily decide and pinpoint what printer is right for you. So hopefully this is a little bit of guidance for you when it comes to choosing out a printer. And even if it's not one of these Canon Megatank printers, maybe it's another printer, use that system to determine how much scanning do I need to do, how much printing do I need to do, how much printing volume do I need to do, and then I'll change and modify the last one is what kind of technology do I need on this printer, because I'm either going to be printing from an iPad or a smartphone, or I'm not, or I'm going to be printing from my PC. So you really want to determine those things so that you can make the best buying decision. I did want to quickly mention the sponsor of today's video, which is my very own Best Printers Cleaning Kit. Essentially, if you have a printer that is printing blank pages, not able to print a certain color, you have lines coming up in your prints, or choppiness or faded prints, or you have an overall in general print quality issue, you're going to want to use the Best Printers Cleaning Kit. There are a wide variety of videos on my channel. If you just click on my channel icon, go to my channel page, go to the search bar and type in your printer model, you will find an instructional video of me using this product on that specific printer model. There have been hundreds of consumers that have used this product to fix their printer. They've saved themselves hundreds in lost printers, lost printer ink, and saved themselves the hassle of having to buy a new printer, new ink. All of that can be strenuous, can be time consuming. Save yourself from that and fix your printer yourself. Now there's going to be a link in the description below. You can pause this video at any time, go down to the description box, click on the link, get yours today, and come back and watch the rest of this video. Alright, so as we come to a close in this video, the pricing on these printers are really going to vary, but I'll talk about a few of them. So the Canon G5020 doesn't have an automatic document feeder, so if you need a lot of scanning, this is not the printer for you. Going for about $250. That's really not that bad, and you're gonna see that price roughly on most of these Canon Megatank printers. Now the G1200, that's the lowest model, that's going for like 120, 150 bucks. That's the lowest price. But when it comes to these tank printers, you wanna be paying at minimum $250. Really, you want to be paying $300 to $350. That's ensuring that you get something that is really going to function well for you. Now, I will say that these Canon Megatanks, the way they match up in price when it comes to the HP and Epson version of the tank printers, this is the lowest price for tank printers, but that's because the printer itself has very low functionality, and I believe that Canon right now is staying in this realm of their base printers. So they took their base model printers and they put tanks on them. But eventually we're going to see, most likely down the road, they're going to be using their more advanced printers, which are, when I say more advanced, I mean they have a touch screen, they have more functionality, they have better print quality, specifically like the Canon TS models that I've reviewed on my channel. Very nice and sleek looking. Those eventually will be tank printers, but they're going to be very expensive, I would imagine, because they're already pretty expensive as is. Now if we look at the Canon G6020, it's going for $300, and this is pretty much the highest you can go with the Megatank lineup. And that is an excellent price if you're starting out, but you still don't have an automatic document feeder. You need that 4000 Megatank model to be able to get that. But if you don't need scanning, for the most part, you're going to have a glass scanner on here, but you don't need to do multiple documents, then you really don't need to move much past the 6020, which is going for $300. So these prices may seem kind of high for a printer, but in reality, the biggest cost you will have with a printer, always, hands down, is the thing that you have to replace on a monthly or annual basis. That is where you're going to spend the most money over time. With these printers, because you have an ink bottle system, not only is the ink going to be cheaper, but you're going to get a lot more out of the ink. So your savings is going to come right there. It's going to come with the ink. So you're going to spend a good amount of money up front, but you're getting over the long term, you're going to be getting a very big savings. You're going to have less error codes. And so that's why I really love these tank printers, whether it's any company, Canon, HP, or Epson. These tank printers are really revolutionizing, as I said in the beginning of the video, the printer industry. Your ink is going a lot further, you're able to fit a lot more ink in the system, and you are getting the ink, even if you buy it directly from the manufacturer, the OEM ink, you're getting it for a lot less money than you are when you paid for ink cartridges. So I can't really decide for you if you should buy a Canon Megatank printer, but I hope that I helped you decide for yourself if you fit into certain categories, whether you should buy a Canon Megatank printer. I hope I've given you all the information to make a good buying decision. Again, make sure to like the video. Any questions at all, comment below. I'd love to hear what you have to say. If I missed anything in the video, feel free to point it out. If you have a question, feel free to ask. Or if you have additional commentary to add to this video, go right ahead. All your comments are welcome here on this channel. And of course, if you want more content like this, please make sure to subscribe. That's really all I have for today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time.